Hello, Mzansi. Welcome back to another episode of Farmers Inside Track. My name is Duncan Masua, and we're back with another episode powered by Voermol Feeds. I'm joined by Dr. Josef van Wyngaard, the technical manager at Voermol Feeds, and we're discussing their protein block in this specific episode. Dr. Josef, always lovely having you with us. Welcome.
Positive and happy to talk to you always.
Fantastic. Protein block. Let's start there. What is it? And I suppose, how does it work?
All right. So part of our block range at Voermol, this block specifically supplies obviously protein. It's in the name, but not just protein. So it supplies minerals, vitamin A, trace minerals, and it's been developed for all ruminants. So this includes your small stock, your sheep and goat, and then on your cattle side as well. So it's easy to handle product. It's ready to use. Put it down and it stimulates intake. You get your stable performance, especially throughout the drought seasons or let's say dry grazing, referring specifically to winter times. It's like an all-rounder block, I almost like to say, for ruminants. As I mentioned, so not just for small, but for large livestock. And I've seen that some farmers make use of this block to grow out their heifers as well during winter conditions.
You know, if you speak to any farmer, they'll say that they want results as fast as possible. When a farmer starts offering this protein block to their herd, what changes can they expect to see? And I suppose, how quickly do those changes become apparent?
Those changes, I mean, we'd all love to see changes the next day. But as a reminder, with the ruminants, it takes about 2-3 weeks to start seeing changes because their rumen and their gastrointestinal tract needs time to adapt and to readjust themselves, referring to the microorganisms, etc., to show you the actual change in that animal. So what we see with the protein block is, as I referred to, it's not just a maintenance thing. There are farmers that make use of it as it's a condition building block as well. So where farmers make use of it, let's say a build up towards production, you can see a change in the body condition of the animals. You can see the hide of the animals starts shining. You see all these healthy signs coming through. You see animals are more eager to take in low quality roughage. So there's stimulates intake of pasture. And at the same time, you pumping your animals full of the required trace minerals, vitamin A as well, which refers to on the health side as well, as I remembered before. But don't hold your breath to see changes within a day or two. It's going to take at least 2 to 3 weeks.
I want to get your thoughts on how the protein block supports breeding animals, looking at bulls and cows in terms of fertility and overall health, especially during those critical stages like mating and lactation, Dr. Josef.
I would say Voermol's protein block are different to other blocks in terms of the quality of protein that's in that block. So it's not just NPN proteins, just the definition of that again, your non-protein nitrogen proteins, which is usually urea. So it does contain a good part of natural proteins, referring to oil cakes such as soya oil cake or cotton oil cake. And that's very important nutrients or natural raw materials that stimulates milk production, enhances fertility, etc. And then at the end of the day, looking at the overall health of the animals. So this block, as I mentioned, this thing will definitely make a difference in your reproduction performances or figures or fertility of both your bulls and cows due to that high level of natural protein component in that block.
Doc, you mentioned earlier around that it's a fantastic all-rounder block. If I'm a farmer and I'm already implementing feed, maize, silage, or other concentrates, what is the best approach to include Voermol's protein block into my feeding program?
So it comes down to the ease of use of the protein block. You can add it in a kraal or on a grazing system. So for instance, the examples that you refer to, let's say where the farmer already supplies a silage component or other energy concentrates, the protein block can support additional nutrients in the form of specifically protein and to a lesser extent your minerals and trace minerals, mainly your natural protein component. And it can support a system like that where animals are already on something else. But just keep in mind, as soon as you supplementing products that both contain NPN sources, non-protein nitrogen sources, referring to urea, then you would need to maybe contact the nutritionist just to make sure that you're not clashing or overfeeding urea, because that can be a bad thing. But looking at the protein block with its low NPN percentages, higher natural protein, it's a good option to add to any kind of system.
Performance indicators, Dr. Josef. Which performance indicators should farmers track to ensure that the protein block is delivering its intended benefits?
All right. So number one would be intake of the lick, and then intake of your roughage source. Would that be a hay bale, grazing, silage, etc.? So you'll see that the animals do get intake of their roughage sources. Third point would then be you're going to look at animal performances, your weight gain, your body condition score of your animals. If you make use of it during late winter or early spring to flush your animals, or maybe to feed it just before they started lambing or calving down, then you might see some differences in your milk yield. But just remember, when making use of protein block, it's not in the same caliber as your maximal range products of Voermol, which is focused on specifically milk production, wool growth, etc. So the window where protein block fits in best would be, I would say, small stock heifers during winter, during low quality grazing, to ensure you don't lose body condition score, you don't lose weight gain, but you're unlocking that potential in terms of fertility, reproduction of your animals.
It brings me to my next question. I suppose we briefly touched on it now, but what advice do you have for farmers that are considering protein block, particularly farmers that farm in challenging environments or areas with limited resources?
The word, if I hear challenging resources, challenging environments, we're talking about geographical challenges. Let's say there's a mountainous area, etc. Blocks fits in perfectly into situations like that. It's especially built for, let's say, circumstances where you cannot feed a supplement every day. With the block, I mean, you can put it out a week or two later, you check it, or you can replace it, or you move the whole block with the herd of animals to the next camp. So it makes it practical for challenging areas, but at the same time giving you the performance that you'd like to see in your animals during these dry grazing periods.
Fantastic. There you have it. Dr. Josef van Wyngaard, Voermol Feeds Technical Manager, talking about their protein block. You can, of course, read more on this topic by visiting www.foodformzansi.co.za. Remember also to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss any of the episodes. From me, Duncan Masiwa, our technical producer, Megan van der Vent, and the rest of #Team Food for Mzansi, thanks for listening.